Does running cause arthritis?
Wait, what? In my knees are we talking?
No, I'm just looking for an excuse why I shouldn't go running.
You like running. What are you talking about? You're a runner.
I do. I'm not. I would never consider myself a runner.
You run. That makes you a runner.
Yeah. Okay, fine.
Right?
But am I causing arthritis? Am I an arthritiser now?
An arthritis, and this is a really common question. We're going to answer kind of some of the myths, some of the science behind it, and then at the end we're going to give you some tips on if you do choose to run, how to protect yourself from injury. Welcome to Talking with Docs. I'm Dr. Brad Wing.
I'm Dr. Paul Salz, and we're talking about arthritis in the hips, knees, ankles, feet, that kind of
yes.
thing, right?
I'd say mostly the knees.
Yeah.
People are really worried about my knees. Am I going to wreck my knees if I run? Or if I already have sore knees and have some arthritis, should I stop running to stop the progression?
That's a different question. The thinking is running is an impact activity.
Right.
Right? And the repeated impact on your joints, your lower extremity joints, knees, but also hips, ankles, feet, is that damaging the cartilage, okay, which is that lining at the end of the bones that makes a joint, the damage of which means arthritis. Are we damaging the cartilage in our lower extremity joints by doing this impact activity sport?
Right. And what we're learning is that just like bone, cartilage that has micro trauma from activities of your daily living as well as exercise kind of turns over. So there are chondrocytes that make the cartilage and help repair the cartilage, and a cell called a chondroclast that kind of helps resorb some of it. And just like the Wolff's Law of bone, which you love Wolff's, Paul loves all the physics.
The more you load bone, the more bone you get.
We're learning that the more that you load and use cartilage, to a point that this is actually good for it. The use it or use it philosophy for cartilage also applies, and that our bodies repair that damage. One of the issues with cartilage that's unique, though, is the blood supply, Paul. Can you help people understand why the blood supply to cartilage is not straightforward?
Cartilage doesn't have a great blood supply. That's the bottom line. Cartilage gets most of its nutrients and that from the synovial fluid, or the fluid that's inside the joint. That's where it gets most of its blood supply. Maybe at the very edge where the cartilage is attached to the bone, there's a little bit of blood there, but most of your nutrients come from the synovial fluid. Not a great blood supply.
Can we just not put in more synovial fluids to get better blood supply?
Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. And the other thing about cartilage is adult cartilage, adult hyaline cartilage, the cartilage at the end of your joints, does not really have a good potential to regenerate.
Especially if there's significant damage, right?
If you damage it, it stays damaged forever. If you're a kid and your growth plates are open, I think you have a good chance of healing some of your cartilage defects. But as an adult, once that cartilage is damaged, and we know this when we fix fractures that go into joints and things like that, the cartilage just can't heal itself well, okay? Sorry, folks, that's the way it is with cartilage.
Yeah, and you know this from doing some basic science research where they remove kind of a chunk of the cartilage and then try to replace it, and it often just doesn't really grow
it's
normally.
A tricky thing. We have done a lot of research in that area where we try and grow cartilage in the lab and attach it back, and even the cartilage in the lab where we have, scientists whining and dining the chondrocytes and trying to convince them to make cartilage.
Please grow.
And they do grow some cartilage, but the quality of that cartilage is nowhere near as good as the cartilage that you have.
I always tell people it's kind of like planting a piece of sod in like a lawn that's perfect, and that piece of sod it kind of stays there. It just doesn't look very good. It doesn't look like normal grass and doesn't totally incorporate. You can tell that there's a bad piece of sod there. Something happened.
And you step on it, whoop, your foot goes right in.
Right, okay. So how could we as scientists or as physicians or researchers, how could we tell whether or not running was bad for someone's cartilage? Is there a way to test it?
We do clinical studies.
Right, so we do studies and not just talking to people. So you could talk to people and say, hey, when you run, does your knee sore? Well, fine. Some people would say that it is, some people would. But is there a more objective way that we could actually measure the volume or the quality of the cartilage?
Oh, clinically?
Yeah.
We use MRI.
Right.
So an MRI for sure.
Right, so we can do studies like MRIs where people run and then don't run, and we see if your arthritis progresses to assess the volume of cartilage. There are also blood tests, like cartilage markers, that can talk about the quality of your cartilage. So we can do these studies, and they've been done. And recent studies have shown that running does not directly cause arthritis of your knees.
Okay, Forrest Gump, tell me something though.
Yes.
If I have arthritis in my knees already, is running going to make it worse?
So they've done studies, and we'll link some of these studies in the description, and they've studied this as well. And no, there's not conclusive evidence that if you have arthritis and you run to a limit, that it's not going to make it worse. And they've even looked at half marathoners, even ultra marathoners, so people that are doing like very, very long distances, that this is not correlated with causing arthritis. What I would say though is that if, say, you have a post-traumatic arthritis,
okay,
so you have a joint surface that's irregular from a fracture, so an incongruent joint, and then you run on that joint. I think they haven't done specific studies on this group because it would be hard to kind of control, but I think it's intuitive that if you have an abnormal joint structurally, that if you run on it and have repetitive impact, that could lead to more progressive arthritis.
And I'll tell you, it is counterintuitive that these studies that you're telling me about, because I've been telling my patients all along, who have arthritis in their knees, when they say, I can't run, but I got to exercise, then I'll say, do something non-impact.
Right.
Cycle, swim, elliptical, something like that.
And I think for pain, I think there's good evidence to show that, yes, if you run and it hurts, then don't run. Find something else to get your heart rate up and to be physically active.
But to be brutally honest, people who've asked me before, I'm a runner, what should I do to prevent getting arthritis? I used to say, change to cycling, swimming, elliptical, something non-impact. However, now that this research is out, I mean,
so I've been telling people, listen, if you really like running and you can tolerate the pain, then I think it may be sore, but I don't think that there's reliable evidence to say that this is, so if you stopped running, that your arthritis is going to progress at a different rate than if you kept running. That's the first thing. And they've done some really interesting studies on the use it or lose it. So a recent paper out of Germany at the Aerospace Center in Cologne, they actually had 12 people in 2 groups, one control group, one non-control group, where they had 21 days of bed rest.
I'd sign up for that.
20.
Group.
So that is so bad for your bones and for your muscles. They were young. They were all mid-30s, thankfully. But it has so many negative effects, and they show that not only your muscle and your bone, but what they're looking at was the cartilage, and the cartilage biomarkers and cartilage volume went down.
Yeah. Did they have a 70-inch TV for that?
I suspect they must have given them something to do.
Movies you'd watch.
So that was one group. So that's the bed rest group. They've done studies in space, just like they've done in bone density, where they've looked at a whole bunch of things, and they've shown that reduces the quality. And then the other one is carrying extra weight. So a lot of people think, well, if I'm heavy, and we tell people lose weight, it's going to reduce your pain. But we didn't really know if it's going to make a difference in your cartilage. And there's studies to show that carrying extra weight to a point is bad for your cartilage as well.
Because of inflammation. And we've talked about this before. Adipose tissue is a tissue, so it produces a lot of hormones, chemicals, things like that. And inflammation is one of the consequences of having extra adipose tissue.
Right. So here we are. So if you like to run, keep running. Don't necessarily worry about your arthritis progressing. If you have arthritis and you like to run, you can still keep running within the limits of your pain.
Okay, Janae, let's give them 5 tips.
Okay.
5 tips that if you're going to go running, do these 5 things that might minimize the discomfort that you're having while you're running, if you do have some underlying arthritis in your knees. So
Paul and I both like to run, and the one thing that I've learned recently, so my number one thing is get proper shoes. I really did not appreciate the evolution of running shoe technology as far as the amount of cushion that you have, as well as going somewhere that actually knows how to measure your foot, see if you're a pronator or a supinator, to give a shoe that kind of facilitates your gait pattern in a way that helps balance the load to your knee.
Chuck Taylor high tops look good, but they're
bad
not the best
for running. Okay, so get good shoes. That's our number one.
Surfaces. What are you running on? That makes a difference, right? Because if you run on a very hard surface like the concrete sidewalk, then that force of impact is going to be translated through your shoe, your good shoe, but still to your joints.
Right.
Okay. Whereas if you run on something softer like a treadmill, even
grass, trail.
Yeah, the trails. I
like the trails.
I love running. I mean, look, I don't like running, but I run. I don't like running, but if I must run, I prefer to run on the trails. Okay. And that's where I usually try to run, which gets tricky in the winter.
So you're not like Seinfeld, I choose not to run.
Why? I'll tell you why. Because I choose not to run.
No, I do run, but I don't love it. Okay. I don't wake up in the morning and go, oh, I can't do my run today. I'm not one of those at all. But when I run, I like to run on trails. I don't run very long.
So surface, so softer surface. Number 3 is having proper technique. So this is kind of hard, but I think if you're going to run more significant distances, I would say look into technique, not only to be more efficient and to become a better runner, but you don't want to be loading your joints in an abnormal way. They say try to reduce the amount of up and down motion, so you don't want to kind of be bouncing along because the amount of impact is higher. And also, as you increase in speed, people tend to have bigger steps. You actually don't want to do that because, again, the force is going to be a lot higher. So take smaller steps, like work on faster foot turnover.
I just thought it was trying to look cool. Run the way it looks cool.
Yeah, not like Phoebe.
Come on, let's start running. Let's go!
No, not like Phoebe. More like Tom Cruise.
Yes.
I mean, he's in his 60s. He still looks cool.
He always karate chops the air. It makes you look faster.
He looks fast.
Yeah, he does look fast.
Pretty cool. So did Steve Austin. Steve looked cool in slow-mo.
That's right. Okay, number 4.
is train.
Okay.
Whenever you're going to do any sport, you need to do some training around it. Okay.
Right.
So train around running. Right. It's not just running. If you're gonna run, you also want to do some leg strengthening exercises.
Yep.
And just general conditioning exercises to
Yep.
get you ready. For
Considering
your run.
other sports, maybe some running and some swimming, and also working on flexibility and mobility, especially as a couple like slightly older guys.
Yeah.
You definitely have to work on
Who are you
the
talking
on the
to?
flexibility and the mobility. And my last one.
I'm gonna almost get my thumb to my wrist.
That's good. The last one is when you're increasing your mileage. So say you are training for a race, be sensible and don't increase your mileage very quickly. They say about 10% a week would be the max.
Yeah.
So don't say, hey, I'm gonna run a marathon, all of a sudden run 60 miles in your first week.
Right.
It's too much, you increase your chances of injury. So all these are really designed to
Don't
reduce
Forrest Gump this one.
don't
Ran
force
across
them
the
to
country.
run nonstop for like
Across
weeks
the country.
and then
Forget
just
it.
stop.
It's dangerous.
And consider maybe even as an asterisk, consider maybe getting a coach or joining a running group or looking online, educating yourself, get a book so you
That's
can
not gonna
learn.
happen for me.
So you can
Coach.
learn. Yeah, I think you could.
Honey, who's that joining us for dinner? Oh, this is my running coach.
My running coach. She's like, why do you have a coach? Okay, so now you know. If you are a runner or wondered about this, leave a comment. If you like this video, please like it, subscribe to our channel, share it with someone that maybe stopped running because of their knees or was wondering if they should keep running, and now you can share this with them.
Remember, you are in charge of your own health.
We'll see you next time.